1, 2. How do I sound? I sound great, don't I?
I'm not gonna lie, your mic is not. It's not great, but it's not horrible.
No.
We can get through this together.
Check.
We can get through this.
Check 1, 2. How's this? Check 1, 2.
Can you hold that up against your face
Check.
for the whole show? Because it sounds better when it's closer.
I think I might be able to. Welcome to the show. My name is Dean. I am down a microphone. It's what happens when you bring your backup microphone when you're on the road. It's what I am. I'm on the road this week. So brought my backup microphone. No backup microphone. It doesn't work anymore. I realize it doesn't work. So I got to go back to the old Apple headphones, wired headphones. I can't even look cool like a millennial and do those little white things in your ears, which is a big thing now. Did you see that? The big selfie thing for a lot of these people? They take selfies in mirrors with your earbuds in. It's uncool to take a picture or selfie in a mirror of any bathroom without earbuds in, because the white earbuds are now a sign of status, apparently. Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that. I bought a pair. Who is the tech guy that you used to have on all the time? What's his?
Mark Saltzman.
Yes, Mark. Yeah. I like Mark. Anyway, he had one day he did a little tech thing with us. And he brought up these like $40 ear. So I thought I'd try them just to see if I liked them, because I didn't want to drop $300 for earbuds, or if I don't like. And I got to be honest with you, man. I'm just like, I just want to be able to plug in and go. I don't want to have to. Oh, are they charged? Are they going to burn out?
Bluetooth, is it coming on?
So annoyed.
Yeah. I get
so
it.
I have them at home, and I used them for like a week, and I haven't used them since. They're not the Apple
pretty
ones.
Douchey. That's the reason why I don't wear them in
they?
public. Like, yeah, they're really douchey, and the really douchey move now with people's. I don't care either, but my kids wear them all the time, and they tell me about this. Right? It's like everybody gets into the selfie shit with. So now the cool thing isn't to have 2 white earbuds in; it's to have 1, just 1.
Oh, why?
I don't know, because kids are dumb.
Okay.
Kids are performative and they do dumb shit, but that's apparently the super cool thing to do now.
I'm going to ignore it, like I ignore a lot of things that the youth do today.
You know what I ignored? I ignored the trend of fanny packs when I was younger. I'm really glad I did. Zubaz pants, ignored those too. Completely ignore the headphone trend with the iPod. Like, I've got mine. Refuse to put them in public. I refuse to walk around with these things in. Because I just feel like one of those douches, one of those millennial, Gen X, Gen Z douchers, who's like, yeah, go ahead.
You might want to try them.
It's like all of them think they're fucking important too when they put them in.
When
the second my kids put in theirs, they're like, okay, Dad, I'm serious now because I got my fucking headphones in. So
when we do the podcast tomorrow, just like put aside the obvious douche factor of them, which I didn't know was a thing. We should try it just to see if the sound's a little bit better. Because my guess is maybe the sound with those things, if it's a mic situation, might be a bit stronger than what we're dealing with right now, which is not bad.
These things? Let me try it. I'm going to try it right now. I can try it right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You just sit there and vamp for a minute. These headphones.
You want me to fill time?
Do this prior to the show. I can do it during the show.
Okay.
And you can see how this goes. There we go.
Yeah.
Connected. AirPods connected. How do they sound? How do I? Way better? Yes, no?
Exactly the same. And now you just look like a douchebag.
That's the thing. Every time I see myself with these things in my ears, I'm like, I'm a millennial douchebag now. Look at me being a
You know what, though? I've noticed, put the other ones back in. Put the other ones back in, because now those things, these are more direct. I feel like there was a bit of a delay. You can't hear a word I'm saying.
Yeah, there is Bluetooth. There is a delay. These are wired.
Okay, yeah. So use the. But the thing is, people have made fun of you and I on this podcast. Occasionally, it comes up when we have these things in with the wires. So maybe there is something to the douchiness of the earbuds.
It's the white earbuds. Yeah. And if you get the white knockoff earbuds, you get beat up. Like, that's the thing. My kid was telling me there's like knockoff guys out there, the knockoff AirPod guys.
That's what I had.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. Okay.
Yeah. Or people mock you for being like totally. It's like back in the day when people were buying Reeboks when they were cool. Remember that? And my parents were poor, so we had to buy Racer Box.
See, I don't remember any of this. I had wood shoes back then. We were way
poor.
You
didn't have fucking wood shoes. Can we just skip all the bullshit now? Because I don't want to talk about AirPods. I don't want to talk about your wooden shoes because you never had fucking wooden shoes. You didn't
I had
live in
wood
the
shoes.
Dutch countryside. Dude.
And my grandmother made pants out of burlap.
No, she.
Yes. And I had garbage bag shirts.
Ah, stop it. No, the only thing that you used garbage
great
bags,
in the rain.
No, only thing you used them for was to wear in rubber boots or your winter boots, right? Like everybody did that when you came from poor homes. You put garbage bags over your socks,
bags
in your fucking winter boots.
I used to do that
all the time. Poor people had to do that, dude. We were poor too. I get it.
We're staying with the in-laws, and they're not. They're not. My wife and I have always, because she comes from a middle class situation, but for whatever reason, she's wired a lot more like me in that, like, we don't waste any money, right? Like her and I are very, like, we don't have weird hobbies, none of it. I mean, she has a Candy Crush problem and I have a drinking problem. That's about it. So when we need something, we go buy it. If she needs work clothes, she needs work clothes because, you know, they're at the end of the line, right?
Yeah.
And I have, like, literally, I have a pair of hiking boots. I have a pair of boots I use when I'm mowing the lawn, shoes, hikers, and I have a pair of hikers that I wear every day until they literally fall off my feet.
Yeah, you're like me.
And we're here at the in-laws, and I don't know what it is with this age group, but they have not, I think it's maybe also the throwing away, because they're in their 80s now.
Yeah.
They don't throw anything out. So they have shoes from like 1982. And then this pair I bought in 94. And they have 100 pairs of shoes in this house.
Yeah. Old people keep shoes, dude. They keep shoes for like gardening, painting, taking the garbage out. Like,
there's racks of shoes in the garage. Like there's a rack, like
probably like 400 pairs of golf shoes. Like if they're my dad,
yes.
And they're like, dude, you only wear golf shoes like in one round. You wear one pair. Why do you have 20,000 pairs of golf shoes? It's like, because I don't throw them away. Dude, my dad's the exact same thing. And the other thing that's really fucking weird, when I go see my parents, I know you're visiting your elderly parents. My parents are in their 70s. Their digestive system betrays them in their later years, right?
Farting.
So the entire house smells like old person ass,
fart.
Like the whole house, and they don't know they're doing it. That's the other thing. Is
my in-laws know?
Oh, do they? They take care of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're constantly farting. They literally, every time they move, if you move from one chair to the next or get up to grab something, there's a fart. There's lots of leather here too, so it smacks a bit. Like you can hear it.
It's one of those ones where they go up the stairs and they squeeze one out with each step.
There's a certain line, I think, once you cross, I think it's 65. Once you hit 65 and you get the deal at Denny's, I think automatically you're just allowed to fart. And there's subtle racism here too. Yeah. Right? Which offends some people. And I am trying everything in my power not to laugh out loud wildly at the subtle racism.
It's not even that subtle. Like, you can say it's subtle, but when I go see my like relatives who came from England, which is one of the whitest countries in the world, it's super white, and they came to Canada like in the 70s. I'm a little dude, come to Canada, they see all this multiculturalism. They didn't get it. But when I go to family reunions, which isn't often, one of my favorite things is to listen to the fucking multicultural grievances of my immigrant family.
And it always starts
here from England.
It starts with this. I'm not racist, but there was a comment about the guy in the Mountie outfit during the Canadian Open on 18.
Yeah.
With the flag.
Yeah, like it's not that. You do same. Jimmy would have said, "Is he Canadian?" Or I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you can come from other countries and become Canadian." Yeah. And it's shocking too, because I live my life very differently. But when I get around racist elderly parents, not only do I not correct them, I fucking enjoy it.
I see.
There's
there's an attempt.
Racist time machine going back.
And
you're like, you know what? I don't even need to correct you. You're going to do your thing. You're going to get punched in the mouth at Value Village for sure. You're going to say something stupid, and that punch in the mouth, that's me saying, hey, dude, it's coming, but I'm done telling you being racist isn't cool anymore, fellas.
The fairer sex in the house is attempting to try to readjust the thinking, and I am laughing. Which I don't know what that says. It almost makes me worse, I think. Because I don't do these things. Like, I've grown out of the racism side of Locke. I put that aside years ago.
Dealt with your biases that you didn't
I've dealt with my biases. Sure. Everybody's on the same even playing field with me until you prove otherwise. So I can deal with whatever color skin you have or wherever you came from. I'm fine with it. But I don't know what it says about me if there is a comment about the Asian looking dude in the Mountie outfit on hole 18 of the Canadian Open in Hamilton.
Fucking crazy. So I'm out west and I'm doing some business visiting and staying.
You can say it. You're there taking care of your girlfriend.
No, doing business, taking care of some business. So anyway, long story short.
You're there taking care of your girlfriend. You just don't want to be perceived as a nice guy.
We're in a Western province, Alberta. And Airbnb, go and meet the gentleman who owns it, lives upstairs, right? So it's like a nice little, I don't need to show it to you, it doesn't matter. And walk up the door. I was with Jesse Lumsden last night, former CFL, NFL player.
Oh, I saw that on
Twitter. Legend. Yeah. So we went for dinner. After dinner, we came back here, had a coffee, shot the shit, had a fucking great time. Jesse's one of my favorite people in the world. Like legitimately
He's a good guy, eh?
Oh, one of the nicest guys. His dad's an MP, Neil Lumsden. He's a CFL Hall of Famer. Jesse is literally an Olympic legend in the city, an athletic legend in this country. And so we go for dinner. And he's like me. He's got common sense, a little progressive, all that other stuff. So we walk up the driveway, and the owner of the Airbnb is standing there. And he's like, I said, hey, how you doing? And he goes, I said, I'm Dean. I said, this is my friend Jesse. He's like, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Mike. I said, hi, Mike. I said, great place. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. My buddy's just here from high school. We're going to hang out and shoot the shit, have a coffee. Hope that's okay. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Just no Asians. Here's the catch. Mike's Asian. I shit you not. And I go, excuse me? He goes, I don't like Asians. And I'm like, but he goes, no, but I'm Canadian Asian. Toronto Asians, they're the worst. You're from Toronto, right? I go, yeah, I'm from Toronto. Toronto Asians are total. And he goes on at this racist tangent. And then he tells me who else he doesn't like. Goes to the Indians, then the Jews. Then he tells me whose fault it is that everybody hates each other in this country. And I'm like, dude, you just went on a racial tirade for like 20 minutes against your own people and everybody else. And he goes, you know whose fault it is? I'm like, I'm guessing you're going to tell me. He goes, the chairman. And I said, who's the chairman? He goes, you know his name. I go, actually, I don't know who you're referring to. He goes, to Trudeau.
What race does he think Trudeau is?
I didn't ask. It's just so baked in out here. I was just like, dude, you are hilarious. Yeah. No, he didn't say he's Cuban. He's Castro's kid. But I turned to Jesse. We're walking down. We walk into the place. And I'm like, that was unbelievable. This is Albertan Asian, who's the most racist guy I've met since I've been here. Doesn't know who, blames it all on Trudeau, which is fucking incredible to me, right? Blames it all on Trudeau, but didn't remember the prime minister's name, but it's somehow his fault that he's racist and all the Asian people are the worst in Toronto.
He might listen.
I like you know how
I love that his name is Mike.
Racist friends, you get together with your racist family members, and they might get a little racist sometimes. You're like, dude, that's offside. But I thoroughly enjoyed you doing that. It was the same thing. I'm on this guy's driveway. He's going off on his own people. He's going off on other people.
Yeah.
He's like blaming Trudeau for it, but can't remember his name. I'm like, this is the ultimate Alberta experience. I wish I was rolling camera. Like he's just got this incredible hatred.
I was just going to say that. I love that his name is Mike. And the thing is, the only thing I agree with is that it is Justin Trudeau's fault. I mean,
yes, of course.
That's one common ground that I have with Mike.
Yeah. Mike's hatred for the Asians and the Jews and the Indians is Justin Trudeau's fault. Can we just talk about Alberta being on fire, though? Because Oilers.
Hold on, you're in Calgary.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any? You've been there for a day now. You're seeing really? Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're seeing some flags on cars and stuff.
Yeah, which is weird because I talked to a couple of people yesterday. I was talking to Lumsden about it last night. I'm like, any Flames fans going to be rooting for the Oilers? He's like, yeah, totally. Like, it's a different time. When we grew up, you did not cheer for a Canadian team if they were in the Stanley Cup final. If your team was a Canadian team and they weren't in the Stanley Cup final, it just didn't happen. No, I never did. I just hated the Flames. And I always found myself when they win that Stanley Cup run back in, what was it, 92? No, 89, I believe. Stanley Cup run back in 89.
It was right after the last win of the Oilers. That's right.
89.
But they lost.
No, they won. So the Flames lost the year before and then won the year after. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they beat Montreal in that final.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I do remember them losing, getting to the end, and then that's right. They did come back and win one. You're right.
Yeah. So long story short, this city has like Oiler fans in it, which never happened when I was a kid. If you're a Flames fan, you fucking hated the Oilers. If you're an Oilers fan. But that game, winning in 6, Edmonton going to the Stanley Cup final. Saturday, by the way, is when it kicks off. I believe 8 p.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time. I think it's around 6 p.m.
The 10th Central is the next game. No, hold on. The 8th. The 8th. June 8th is the Saturday.
Yeah.
So hockey night in Canada.
But, dude, I'm excited.
In Florida.
I'm excited to watch a different game.
Well, you're coming around. You're coming around. What happened?
Well, no, I was always an Oiler fan, but I didn't watch any playoff hockey. But it's the Oilers, dude. You know how much nostalgia there is for a guy like me? The Oilers in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but you haven't been really paying attention to this playoff run.
No, but I'm paying attention to it now because it's my team. Like when it's your team as a kid, there's a ton of nostalgia, right? Like being a Gretzky file, going to games at Northlands Coliseum when I was a kid, seeing those big numbers on the back of jerseys, 11, Messier 17, Curry, Gretzky 99, Coffey 7. Lee Fogelin 2. Not many people remember Lee Fogelin. He was
Kevin Lowe's number
4.
That's right.
Don't fuck with me. I know these numbers. McTavish was 14. 18. 14. Craig Simpson. So that's Zach Hyman, by the way, who's better than Craig Simpson ever was. So long story short,
Hyman
is
I'm leading
excited.
the playoffs with goals right now. 14. He's popped.
I know.
He's 4 ahead of Draisaitl.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But to your point, I haven't been watching a ton of playoff hockey, but I'll watch every minute of the Oilers in the Stanley Cup final because I remember being a kid, 1985, 86, 87, when they did the old three-peat, right? 85, 86, 87. They break through again in 85, finally after losing in 84, and I was fucking crushed
to the Islanders.
In 84. Gretzky walks out of the room. He's like, I saw those guys dying in the dressing room after they won the Stanley Cup. We walked out in our suits and we realized that day what it took to get to a cup. These Oilers remind me of that team. They remind me of the 84, 85, 86, 85, 86, 87 Oilers who fucking had the best player in the world, managed to had a couple other fucking
Messier, the second best player in the world.
Draisaitl. You had the Esatikkanens. Kane, Evander Kane. You had a couple all-world defensemen. You know, you had Stanley Cup, like Conn Smythe worthy defensive Norris Trophy. Like fucking Paul Coffey scored 50 goals one of those years. I think it was 84, which is crazy when you think about it for defensemen.
Bouchard.
Bouchard. Yeah. And Grant Fury. That's the only similarity.
One of Coffey's records this year.
Maybe. Coffey's behind the bench. But this team reminds me of that team. So it's got it's got not just nostalgia for me. It's like, my God, things are the way they should be. The Oilers are in the Stanley Cup final. If you know what I mean, there's a little bit of weirdness when it comes to that.
They're finally playing team defense. This year, somebody figured out how to get them to play team defense, and everybody has bought in. And it's fun to watch, man. It is. I got to tell you, I've been very excited about this team all year. And the thing is, you'll run into the odd Oiler fan like me that's cautiously optimistic, right? Because it's not over yet. And they had some hurdles to get over. Like Vancouver was a lot. I remember, what did I say before that series, Dean?
I don't remember. We said a lot of things.
I said that this team is not going to be as easy to get past as everybody thinks. And the funny thing is, Dallas finished ahead of the Oilers in the regular season. Vancouver finished ahead of the Oilers in the regular season. Edmonton had home ice advantage against Los Angeles, but there were two teams, and people that in Edmonton, it's a bit of a bubble. Everyone seemed to have this idea that Edmonton was the favorite in every one of these series. Even though, if you look back on the regular season, Dallas and Vancouver had unbelievable finishes, right? Mm-hmm. Start to finish, both teams.
Yeah.
And it just felt like there was a little bit of too much optimism in Edmonton. I felt it because I was like, man, Tocchet's got these kids playing really, really well. They're on board. They're also buying in here. And so I think the team has had a similar outlook on each series that I've had, that, okay, the job's not done yet. And this Florida Panthers team is going to be nothing to, we can't take these guys lightly. Yeah. They're going to give us a really good run for our money. But if we play together and we buy in and we do what we've done, what we've been doing, right? Mm-hmm. It just, again, I haven't been tweeting about it. I've been cautious about my comments on the podcast because it's not over yet. They're in the finals.
We haven't talked about it because you didn't want to jinx it, right? Like, that's why we haven't talked about it. And I've been
that superstitious
off hockey because I'm a Leaf fan. I'm like, fuck, forget it. Why would I talk about that? It just hurts me every time I talk about it.
Why am I so superstitious?
Because you're weird. You're an old man. Old people get weird. Old people get superstitious.
And
but
gassy,
I want to know. Yeah. I want to know how Deb handled it. Like, did she watch it wire to wire, start to finish? First puck drop to the fucking final bell. Was she losing her shit?
The only game we missed was last Wednesday, Game 5. We caught the last half of the game because we were at pickleball. That's the only game we've missed. We've caught every other game.
You old fuck. But what did she say after? I want the reaction after they actually booked their ticket in Game 6. Was she losing her mind? Was she like super fucking stoked?
Dude,
was she crying? Were you crying?
We were screaming. There was no crying because it's not over yet. It's not over yet. There was a lot of screaming though.
Final. Was there screaming? Did you guys hug? High five?
There was high fives. There was jumping up and down the living room. It was a scene. It was a scene. She loves Nuge. She's a huge Ryan Nugent-Hopkins fan. Has been for years.
Playoffs too. He's been like,
and she actually went against. Player. She went against one of my Edmonton, one of my hockey rules. I'm a fan of the team. I'll cheer for them. They don't get any of my money.
No.
After the 2-tier comment from Kevin Lowe, and listen, I realized that was many, many years ago, but I hold a grudge. I still have never seen a hockey game in Rogers Place, and I have never spent money on merch.
You're going to have to figure that out at some point. That whole fucking trigger you have where someone's like, hey, I'm a shitty person. And you're like, okay, shitty person. I'm going to fucking circumcise my enjoyment because you're that much of a shitty person. Dude, you have a Stanley Cup final down the street from where you
I can watch the game in the loft with my wife and not pay $25 a beer.
You're going to go to the ice house. You're going to watch it outside with everybody. You're going to stand in a crowd of people, drink beers.
I don't know if I need that in my life. I love that. And I love that we have fans that are, spending money on tickets. And I love the fact that we have the Moss Pit and it goes crazy. And I love the footage of it. I love it. I loved watching it when did the Leafs get? They made the playoffs this year. When did they get?
Every year for the past several years, actually. You do that in the first round. It looks cool in the first round, but it doesn't get past the first round because they never get out of the first round.
Game 7, right?
Always Game 7. Yeah. Once again, it doesn't bother me.
Guess when they got through to the next round? When I put a $100 bet on them losing in Game 7 last year.
Of course.
Okay. So this year I didn't put a bet on, and they lost in Game 7 in the first round.
You should fucking put money.
So that's me. So you wonder why I'm so superstitious?
Dude, a buddy of mine put $500 on the Leafs losing in Game 7 when they were down 3-1, and he won $8,300. I'm like, that's such a fucking
He's
asshole.
probably a Leafs fan.
Total Leaf fan. He's like, if I can't have fun watching him win, I'm gonna fucking make money watching him lose. So it's exactly what he fucking did. To your point, it was really.
You know what's funny? I almost put $100 down when they were down 3-1, when they were up 3-1, and I was like, you know what? They're going to lose Game 7. I know what's going to happen. But I knew if I put the money down that I wasn't going to make the money, because that's the way my life goes.
Well, it's not predetermined, but yes, I get it. So if something bad can happen, it will. I want to pay attention to something. So it's Oilers in 6. That's my prediction. I think it's going to be hard fought. I think the Cup's coming back to Canada. That's just my prediction. And I do not make predictions. And I'll tell you why I'm making this prediction, because the Oilers are built different. They're men. They're Canadian men. They're guys who do their own shit. They brought in a sports psychologist who used to work with the Patriots, the Bulls, Michael Jordan, to work with these guys this year. And
I've seen interviews with that guy. He's an interesting guy.
Incredible. He's made all the difference in the world, apparently. So, and it manifested itself after the game, Game 6. I want to play this for you. This is Connor McDavid.
It's a home game. They win on that home on Sunday night.
You know what you do after men's league when you're going to go to the bar with the boys, right? You hit the LCBO.
Boston Pizza,
you might
get
hit a
some
beer
wings.
story. You might go, but you'll go to the liquor store, load up on pints.
Yeah.
Grab a couple of 40s, maybe a few 2.6s. You might feel weird and get a Texas Mickey. I would like to point out that Connor McDavid is worth in the neighborhood of $125 million. Okay? He's the best player in the world.
Have you seen the tour of his house?
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
It's disgusting. Yeah.
He is
so nice.
The most recognized hockey player in the world.
Yeah.
He lives in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, city of about 1 million people, right? Give or take.
1.2.
1.2 million. Not a lot of
surrounding
people.
area included.
Big fish in a small pond. That did not preclude Connor McDavid, after the game, Game 6, going to the liquor store himself. It's fucking crazy video.
Everybody on the planet has seen this video.
And loading up on beers. His girlfriend's in tow. He's being mobbed by Oiler fans. And all the snowflakes are out there going, leave him alone. He's just a guy. Dude, this is Edmonton. These people are insane for this team. There's no way this guy gets left alone. But the humility around what we see with Connor McDavid rivals that video where he was in the States last year, hammered, holding that girl's hand. It's so cool. Let's watch it together.
Oh, it's been a beautiful night, man.
Good game.
Thank you so much. Good game, man.
Wait.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you so much, man. I'm so happy. Go, let's go. This is me with the legendary Connor McDavid.
You deserve us to be a
Good man.
She got some coolers.
Thank you so much.
Got some White Claws.
Some White Claws.
Thank you so much.
Coors Lights.
Thank you so much.
He's wearing the suit. He's wearing the walk-in suit too that he wore for Game 5, Game 4, Game 5, Game 6. Come on, let him go. Come on, too much.
You know how fucking incredible that is? Look at this. He's with his girlfriend. He's like, 4 guys. Dude, here's the thing. It's beautiful because they're saying thank you so much. Like, thank you for bringing this to me. Thank you for everything you've done. Thanks for playing in this
They get a little close for my liking. They get a little too close for my liking, though. I don't know. Leave them alone.
Like, this is
It's just a kid that plays hockey.
Yeah, whatever, guys. No problem. Good to see you. Thanks. No problem, guys. Thanks so much. Yeah. Yeah,
Give me a hug, man.
Give me a hug, man.
Thank you so much.
A hug.
Thank you so much.
He's an awkward guy already. One of the funniest videos, or one of the funniest pictures of Connor McDavid, is he's at the airport.
Wait a second. Look at that hug.
There's a Filipino couple that comes up to him, and they're literally at his waist, and one of them, they're on either side of him hugging him, and he just looks so awkward. He looks like that 13-year-old boy that's just coming into his own, right? And mom's trying to give him a kiss on the cheek. He's just such a awkward kid. Yeah. This is too much. No, that's too much.
Look at the hug he's trying to give that. That guy's hugging Connor McDavid with all he's got, and McDavid is like, I am so fucking uncomfortable right now. I just want to get it.
I'm uncomfortable for him. Like, don't touch me. Don't. It's a rule of mine. And no hugging at work.
It's my favorite.
You don't hug at work.
Ever. Look at this face.
Such a.
Hey,
I feel bad for him.
That's the picture you're talking about?
That's the picture. Look at him. He's just like, oh.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being that well known in any capacity? Like,
and here's the thing, right? Like, what we forget is that he's a Canadian kid.
That's why he's living beers in himself. Like someone that has that kind of money, that kind of influence. He's the greatest athlete in the world at the moment, not named Connor McDavid. Has a runner. He's got a guy who goes and does it. He'll just pick up the phone. He'll just have a thing. He said, after the game, I need a charcuterie board for 200. It's got to be worth at least 20 grand. I want caviar. I want you to bring champs. I want some fucking bourbon. I want this. I want that. He's like, hey boys, we should go party at my place. Total old school fucking Canadian rec league hockey vibe, right?
I love it.
Like, we're going back to my place. We're gonna light it up, put some porn on the TV, maybe play some fucking computer games, get super hammered, and order some Panago pizza before we go to bed. How does that sound? Everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. And the captain of the team doesn't delegate. Not that guy. He goes and does it himself. Loads the fucking Lamborghini SUV up with a whole bunch of booze that he had to buy for himself.
You're not going to see Tyler Seguin doing that.
No.
Or Matthew Tkachuk.
Austin Matthews won't either.
No. Absolutely not. You know what? I think there is a certain bubble when you're in the league, right? Like I think they do put a bit of a bubble around these kids and kind of protect them from the outside world. Mm-hmm. But you can get away with a little bit more freedom in a city like Edmonton, right? I think Calgary, to a certain extent, probably has a bit of this. Like you'll see Oilers out and about, right? Like I saw Enrique at Team Ford, at Kentwood Ford there, picking up a truck not too long ago. And it was just him and his buddy there grabbing the vehicle. So I think Edmonton's still a small town.
They get that small town respect. Everybody feels like they're part of their literal community, right?
Toronto, it's going to be a bit different, right? Like Marner, Matthews, Nylander are going to be a little bit more cautious about, stepping out of the bubble to go grab booze or whatever.
I got to tell you something when it comes to the Leafs, and I don't want to get into a hockey conversation, but I was talking with a buddy of mine about a meeting that he had with Craig Berube, who's the new head coach. Craig Berube does not like Mitch Marner. Not only does he not like Mitch Marner, apparently Mitch Marner, there's a news story that came out today. He's intends on playing out the final year of his contract, which is this year, and he's not asking for an extension, doesn't want one, and wants to bolt after this year. So things aren't happy here. While we're watching you do incredible things in the playoffs, I'm fucking super happy for you. Things are bubbling over here. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And I think it actually might be good for the Leafs because I think that there is a bit of a douchebag sort of mentality in that dressing room. And I think Marner might be the ringleader for that.
Oh, I mean, victim. Yeah. He's got major fucking ego problems, that kid.
Yeah,
right?
and
I
listen,
it drives everybody on the team crazy if you ask them in a quiet moment too. Like that blow up on the bench we saw with Nylander and Matthews, where Nylander was saying, "Stop being a fucking baby, stop crying. This isn't junior, bro." Do you remember that? That was in game like 5 or 4 or something when they were getting beat. Austin Matthews is playing like fucking sick, and he looks at Marner and he gives him shit, and then fucking Nylander gives him shit. That was not, and I know this for a fact from talking to people with the organization. That was not, hey, rah. That was like, we're fucking done with this guy. And that core is not him anymore. He's not involved in that core. So while things are great for you,
I think Matthews is salvageable. As much as I think he's a little bit.
Not the problem. No. He's not the problem. People like him.
Yes, I get that. And this is all based on, complete and total speculation on the idea that I've convinced myself that I'm really good at reading people.
Yeah, you're not. You don't have any special.
Little bullshit, right? Because I'm all the time, except about Kelly Rudy.
You really hate him.
And Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers was something wrong with him. I never trusted that man.
I didn't either. It was a little too creepy for me. Like if a Mr. Rogers showed up at your door, you'd probably call the police now. That's just because we're very paranoid people. Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, because he was there to kill you.
And he wasn't.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of killing people, can we have a vaccine conversation today?
Do we want?
Yeah, fuck.
You keep telling me you don't want to talk about vaccines.
I don't, but I kind of want to talk about it today because I want to.
Is this the Fauci stuff? You got to explain. Why do I keep? Because I'm not paying enough attention anymore. But why? Why is Fauci in the news?
Well, two things happened this last week
Legit
that I thought was interesting. So in the U.S., Congress, which is legitimately run by the Republican Party, which generally speaking doesn't believe in science, they think Jesus Christ is the vaccine, all that other stuff that we've talked about.
I think
This
there's
is
a
the group
faction of the Republican Party, but I don't know if we should. I don't know if there's broad strokes there. I think
pretty broad strokes. Broad's a good thing because Marjorie Taylor Greene actually figures nicely into this one. He's
How
being
did
actually
that woman.
Dude, it's fucking unbelievable. I got a couple of videos to play that you'll go, come on, is that fucking real? Yeah, it's real.
She's insane.
So the Republican Party is gone full on conspiracy theory. This week they've got Fauci on the stand trying to prove that he gained billions of dollars working with Big Pharma to put the jab in people's arms. Remember that whole thing? The jab in people's arms, that he's going to kill people. And he's the guy that was responsible for leaking the Wuhan virus. These are all fucking things. And it has been so fucking unhinged that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been like the most entertaining Twitter follow on the planet just because of her, who has the education. She hasn't even fucking graduated high school. She runs a shitty construction company. She somehow became a congresswoman. And she's asking one of the most educated virologists in the world a bunch of questions about what he does for a living. And she's being a total piece of shit while she does it. This has been one of the funniest fucking weeks I've ever seen. Now, the reason why they're doing this is obviously because Donald Trump got indicted with 34 different felonies, right? If you remember that last week, a couple weeks ago.
So this is their counter?
And so this is them saying, you know what? Yeah, because they tried to go after, Biden. They tried to get him. And they couldn't get him. And then they went after Hunter Biden.
I thought it wasn't political.
Can't get him. And now they're going after Fauci, trying to prove to everybody that he engineered the greatest medical experiment against people. You know, the whole QAnon thing. And Marj is totally QAnon. This is a clip. I'm going to play it for you. It's 1:53.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Before you play the clip, and this is a legit question.
Sure.
Because occasionally I will hear a reasonable person make comments about Fauci and reasonably explain why he may have been compromised at times through the course of his career in this field. Mm-hmm. So, and again, listen, I'm not jumping into the full-blown conspiracy theories about Fauci, but is there a bit of truth to what the conspiracy theorists have jumped into the boat with about Fauci?
No,
because so you're disregarding everything that they're saying, and that there might not be a thread of evidence that might have led to the reason behind the Fauci conversation.
Correct. I'll play it for you. Unless you find this line of questioning.
No, I'm not her, but I'm just saying, like,
dude.
I heard an interview one time with somebody that was breaking down Fauci's life, and I'm like, and he was explaining why the conspiracy theories have started. And he was like, this is why. He says, whenever these things happen, there's generally something that you can pull on to get it started. And then it just gets carried away. So I'm just asking you if you've ever heard anything about his life and his past existence in this field that because I think he did make a couple of mistakes and had some stumbles along
I'm
the
sure
way.
he did. That's what science is. It's a great question. Everything that I know about Dr. Anthony Fauci is legitimate. Everything that Marjorie Taylor Greene and the people in Congress that are putting him on trial for allegedly working with the Chinese to kill Americans and Jews is not true.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that COVID was leaked from a lab in Wuhan?
I do.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
I personally do. I believe
I do as well.
Yeah, which matters not, but I believe it was leaked. Anyway, I want you to watch this.
Do you believe it was leaked by accident or?
No, I believe it was leaked intentionally. China hates the world. They hate everybody in the world.
I think it was actually. So that gives a good framework before we jump into this, because I'm on board with that conspiracy theory.
Totally. If you want to get me on a conspiracy theory, my conspiracy theory is that China wanted to kill as many fucking Westerners as humanly possible, and this is how they did it, and weren't afraid to sacrifice their own because they've been doing that for like 1,000 years. So no big deal.
And they've got the numbers in their favor.
Yeah, there's a couple billion of them. They're
So
like,
they were
we can unload half
all
a
right.
billion.
So how many we got, and how many do they have?
How much
All
is
right,
real
let's roll the
estate?
dice.
How many
Let's see.
people do we need to kill? Yeah,
Let's see what this thing does.
yeah,
All right.
exactly. But this is Marjorie Taylor Greene questioning Dr.
That's
Anthony
awful.
Fauci.
That's awful that you and I are on.
No, I totally believe it. I don't believe, dude.
Completely
I
believe
think everything China does is meant to kill other people. I don't. I seriously do. I think everything that China and Russia does is meant to make the people that run China and Russia look great and kill as many other people from other countries that don't like China and Russia as humanly possible. That's why.
Please tell me
those countries
that
exist.
Dr. Fauci has fixed his voice before you hit play again.
He hasn't. Listened carefully, but pay attention to Marjorie Taylor Greene and her fucking vast command of the English language. This is fucking awesome.
Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes, you said you represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent.
Oh,
But as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on.
He doesn't even know what it is.
So it's a picture of two dogs being used for some kind of medical experiment. It's quite sad.
Their heads are in some kind of cages or something?
Some kind of bag, yeah. And it's really awful, right? Not only does Dr. Fauci not have any clue what this is just a picture from the internet where two dogs were being used for science experiments. He has nothing to do with any of that stuff. He doesn't even know where it came from. Listen carefully, friends. She gets cooler.
And these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop. Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science
He's trying not to laugh.
where you confess.
Did you see her say abhorrent? She put a P in there for some reason. Thinks it's two words. Abhorrent.
Confess that you
She
made
could be a co-host
up the
on this
COVID rules.
podcast.
Hey, this is where it, yeah, she could do radio in Edmonton. Hey, watch this.
Where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up as
say
you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
What do dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about today?
These are scientific experiments. This is what you signed
The
off
guy
on.
behind, look at the guy behind him. Look at the guy behind him. He's like, he can't stop laughing.
He's got his head down. Look at this. He's got that smirk on his face. Watch this again. She is so fucking
Did
stupid.
dogs have anything to do with this
Dude,
line of questioning?
She's got like a piece of like an article from the Daily Mail, which is like basically Fox in England. And she's like, did you say this? He's like, no, I didn't say any of that. So is this fake news?
He
It's
made
like,
up
yeah.
COVID rules, including the 6 feet social distancing and masking kids.
She's literally taking like misinformation and disinformation that everybody's laughed at for the first 4 years, and she's using this in her line of questioning of one of the smartest men in the world. It is fucking awesome. And then she brings up the dog picture again because she thinks she's got him in a moment. And he's like, what the fuck do dogs have to do with
Science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
What does dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about today?
This guy, he loses.
Scientific experiments.
Look at him.
This is what
He's laughing. I wonder who that is and what his connection is.
He's a
'Cause
lawyer.
you see people behind. There's he's the lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't understand how that's allowed. Like,
how you're allowed to put on a big dog and pony show, dude. Have you watched House of Commons television? Have you watched this ever? That's all
I know,
it
but
is.
it should almost like
you should get
should
you
be some kind of a
get
test.
penalized. You should get fucking arrested. You should be thrown out of office. for using any public time, public dime, public airways to fucking put on a dog and pony bullshit show. You should do that in Canada.
I don't
too.
understand how that person is still allowed.
The disparity of both of those people, if you look at both of their resumes, you listen to both of them talk, listening to Marjorie Taylor Greene question Dr. Fauci is like literally watching someone who spends all their day in a group home with their tongue hanging out, build birdhouses, go and try and tell an engineer how to build a building. It is honestly one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. Let's make people even crazier. If you're in the anti-vax community, Justin Trudeau had an announcement for you. Your favorite prime minister.
Oh, no.
Your favorite prime minister. Well, ladies and gentlemen of QAnon, MAGA, Maple MAGA, haters of JT, haters of Trudeau, Justin Trudeau is building vaccine facilities in Canada, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, this is great.
I'll never forget how I felt back in December of 2020 when I heard that the first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines had landed in Canada. We were able to procure enough shots for Canadians to get vaccinated, but at the same time, we really should be developing and manufacturing our own supply for Canadians.
Did you like that? Did you like that? Yeah, that sweet shot of him in a lab coat. He's never looked hotter.
Oh my God.
Now, you probably know that insulin was invented here in Canada. Well, I'm at the Sonofi manufacturing site in North York, Ontario, and it was on this site that insulin was first mass-produced for Canada and beyond. With our investment, Sonofi is creating the largest biomanufacturing facility in Canada right here. This facility means that Sonofi can produce a lot more life-saving vaccines like flu and booster shots faster. And it means they can scale up research and development of new shots.
Yeah.
Because we want the next vaccine the world will need to be produced right here in Canada.
Great stuff. We don't need to be talking about this, so bud. Like we don't.
That
like,
was the.
That was a pure troll job. That was. By the way, I loved it. Loved it because you know how many people who hate that guy, who are so much more extreme than you or anybody else who doesn't like that guy for very valid reasons, that don't believe in vaccines, don't believe in government interdiction in their lives, are like, oh, he's rubbing it in. Do you know how many tweets I saw yesterday from people who are like,
he is
rubbing it in, and I'm like, he's totally rubbing it in.
Here's the thing. I don't think any of that is, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, look at when you take a look at, if you can pull your bias about the vaccine or what we went through, during the pandemic for 3.5, 4 years, if you can, separate that, let's just say it needed to happen. Like, let's suspend reality here and say it needed to happen. And everything that happened for a reason, and everybody did the right thing and we made no mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. It's kind of like getting on board the electric vehicle trends around the world and trying to entice companies to come to Canada to build electric vehicles and produce the batteries that we need for these vehicles, because that's a smart business thing. This is a smart business thing. It made a lot of money. Where it gets dicey is there were some mistakes made, and that people haven't been able to separate the politics from the health, and it's a cesspool and it's a mess. And so I don't know, maybe there's somebody else from the government that might be better suited to deliver that message. And it's just part of his arrogance, I think. And if it is, like, if he legitimately is sitting down and there's a room full of people and they're saying, and there's a Lachlan in the room that goes, yeah, people hate you, this might not be the best message to send to everybody, and maybe you shouldn't be associating yourself with this. And he goes, I don't care. I want to prove a point and I want to be a dick, so I'm going to do this video. Then I'll give him points. I'll applaud him for it because it's going to work. That's exactly what is going to happen. But if he is unaware of it, then he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that, just two things. Like you said, if you can pull your bias out of your head or your ass out of your bias, your head out of your biased ass. What is that Tommy Boy reference? You can take a good look at the butcher's head by sticking your head in the butcher's ass, but you'd rather take the cow's word for it. Something like that. Dude, like fucking vaccines are important, right? Anybody that tells you they're not, anybody that tells you that vaccines are satanic and vaccines are of the devil and fuck science.
But hold on, there's an element,
there's
an element of there that we always ignore because we always focus on the extreme when we have these conversations. And the extreme is, yes, what you said, but there is an element of it where people made a lot of money from it and people are questioning how that happened and whether or not there was any sort of corruption around that. And I think that's an interesting conversation. And I think you can't have that.
Man, that was just an excuse for a lot of very weak people who are trying to avoid any pain at all from doing anything that had anything to do with other people. That was like legitimately, I'm settled. So when someone says to me today, what do you think of the unvaxxed? I'm like, I could care less. But when they say, well, what do you think of someone who's unvaccinated in total, avoiding the vaccines, campaigning against vaccines? That's a different answer. The reason why it's a different answer is that those are people who are desperately trying to avoid pain, any pain. And those are the same people who avoid pain in their lives by never dealing with anything, never going to the doctor, not paying their fucking rent, not paying their bills. These are perpetual victims who have figured out a way to avoid pain. So what they want to tell other people is this will cause them pain. So they went on this campaign for fucking 2 years telling everybody you're going to die if you get the jab. I've had 3, you've had several. We're fine. We look great. Nobody was killed from the fucking vaccine. There were minimal side effects. I can't speak to the individual side effects. I'm not going to speak to any individual like this guy from Answers for Sean, this guy who's been pimping his own son's death from a congenital heart defect, calling it COVID so he can get $35 million. Or this lady who, closes her eye, says she's completely injured from the vaccine, takes a picture, puts it on Twitter, then closes the other eye and says it's still bad today, and the other eye is magically open. I mean, the amount of hustling, the amount of bullshit that people have purveyed just so they can stay away from actually having a fucking needle or stay away from any possible side effects whatsoever when they have not just been encouraged to Google it themselves, which they do and eventually Google the wrong thing, which is why they don't get vaccinated. They're just childish idiots. And can a childish idiot have autonomy over their body? 100%. You don't want to get vaccinated? That's 100% up to you. But
that was my thing with it, right totally. From day one, whether you believed it or not.
You happen to know something about this vaccine that other people don't, that you found on fucking line. Or that you're angry because Dr. Fauci worked with Pfizer, who is absolutely a corrupt company, or AstraZeneca, which is a corrupt company. These are big pharma's all corrupt. To fuck you over while the rest of us had to go get vaccines and not only got them, lived a robust life and still do. None of us have fallen dead. None of us have died.
Well, so I think
the whole narrative, hang on, let me finish this and get it out of my head. The whole narrative behind what's going on now with people trying to reignite the vaccine conversation. The narrative is being pushed by the same people who have nothing to talk about because everything in their world continues to go into the shitter. Donald Trump getting charged with 34 felonies. Well, that can't be real. Well, it's fucking totally real. Everybody who's been vaccinated hasn't died suddenly. Well, you should be dying anytime. No, because the vaccines fucking work. And so what they're now doing, this is like their denouement. This is the climax. This is it. This is their moment. If they can get Dr. Fauci to answer ridiculous fucking questions posed by absolute fucking morons, their fan base will love it. Their fan base will donate money. They'll say, there she is, giving it to Fauci. Dr. Fauci is one of the most well-respected medical minds on the planet in the history of the medical field. Without question. World-renowned. Marjorie Taylor Greene has figured something out. He hasn't. Your neighbor Bob wants Dr. Fauci in jail while he's twisting fucking pipes. No, none of those things are true. None of this is real. What is real is that we have an epidemic of childish, stupid fucking idiots who continue to run around and reignite this conversation. And it is settled fucking science. Vaccines work. Now we've got measles. Now we got polio again, because they've been so effective at telling people that, oh no, this is bad. Big pharma just wants your money. These vaccines don't work at all. Dude, one of the leading anti-vax guys in this province has a son who's sick right now because he is unvaccinated, wholly unvaccinated. I'm not going to get into who that is because it doesn't matter at the moment. But that is the work that they have done. None of this shit is real. Justin Trudeau is putting a vaccine factory and expanding vaccine production in this country because it's a smart thing to do, whether you fucking like him or not, because vaccinology has been around for 400 years and it's not fucking going anywhere.
But we're not wrong. We're not wrong that maybe he shouldn't have delivered the message.
Fauci?
No, Trudeau.
Oh,
that video.
No, he should never be delivering any messages, but I do love the troll.
See, that's the point. That's the point of the conversation, I think, that gets lost when you jump in, right? Like, the thing is, I've been in rooms with people that are anti-vax and are live their lives that way. And I don't bother because I'm not going to be the one that's going to convince them that, you know, but the thing is where we've lost our way a little bit is on both sides of the equation, where it's now becoming those people get attacked when
who's those people?
When they shouldn't be. People that are anti-vax, they get attacked when they are maybe just wanting to get some information, like, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing. They just
wanted to get some information. That was what I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene there. Wasn't hunting.
Not her. No, I'm talking. See, we can't do this. We can't do this because you can't have a conversation without including the extreme. Yeah, and that's where we've gone wrong. There are people out there that legit have concerns and questions and go, you know what? Listen, it's not my brother Bob. This is the reason why, and I'm being proactive about my health, and I don't know if I need this. Do I need 7 of these shots? Like, tell me, please. And I think that conversation is probably frowned upon. I mean, and if you go into a doctor and start asking questions, you're probably going to get put into a camp right away, and you might not deserve to be in that camp. And that's the division that we're seeing. And that's where politics and health is sort of, crossed paths. And that's the unfortunate part about it. And that's what I'm saying about Trudeau. You should be self-aware enough to know that there is a faction of the population, regardless whether or not they're idiots or not, that think that you're part of the problem. So you stepping in front of a camera and delivering that message may not be the best idea, regardless if you're the leader of the country or not, and regardless of what your views are on the topic. So now you're just being an asshole. So, and again, I have a certain amount of respect for it if he is. I do. I 100%.
I have more respect for him if he's being a prick than if he's just up there doing his job. I'm like,
me too. But if he isn't aware and thinks that he's not part of the problem, that's where I think we have an issue. And that's where I think we've had an issue. And a lot of people have had an issue with him from day one, that he's just a little disconnected from the rest of the population and lives in this bubble, and it doesn't make him relatable. And that's where I think my concern with him sort of lies, where he's just not being himself. He's just not authentic enough. And listen, all politicians fall into that category.
There's an obtuseness to someone who knows that the entire country is really angry at him. And half of those people are angry at him because he called them names. Now, listen, that you can call me anything, just so you know. You can call me names. I find that weak as fuck as well, by the way. Someone who sits there and go, he called me names. Dude, you know how many names I get called on a daily basis? I don't cry about it. I don't go, I'm going to fucking hold a protest in Ottawa until someone stops calling me names. So there's that. I mean, sure, he's upset a bunch of pussies, and he's upset weak people, and he's annoying, and he's terrible at comms, and he's a drama teacher, and he fucking over-exaggerates shit, and he weaponizes inclusivity like everybody in the Liberal Party does, which is fucking, and they go, what are you talking about? Sure, those are other things. What I'm talking about is that this guy literally got in front of a microphone, knowing all of those things. He's like, you know what'll really piss
Does he though?
off? Oh, totally. Dude,
if somebody tells, please, somebody.
It's impossible for him not to know that everybody fucking hates his guts right now. And so he stands there going like this.
And let's celebrate him.
Let's send a charge into the anti-vax community right now.
Yeah. Then I'm fine with it. I'm 100% fine with it. I would have helped him write the script.
Let's announce a government grant for Sonofi. to build a massive extension onto their vaccine making plant in Canada and do a commercial that everybody from that side will watch and tell them, we're making more vaccines, because that's what they saw. Like, a buddy of mine sent that to me, who is full on anti-vax. Sent me that video. He's like, this fucking guy. I'm like,
see,
oh my God, this is awesome.
Okay, I get more upset about like pushback on any content that I produce if somebody doesn't get it when I'm trying to be funny. I get unreasonably angry. If I make a joke and somebody points out the fact that I was wrong, I get so mad. So that's where my mind is. And again, I don't know what it says about me as a human being, but that's where we're at right now. And the thing is, I do think that there is a certain response. This is another way of looking at it. I do think there's a certain responsibility that our public officials have to sort of to bring the temperature down. And listen, it's not happening, and both sides are ramping it up. So I don't agree with it.
That was some passive aggressive, like, amping up of bullshit, though, right? Like, that's what
and
I like.
Passive aggressive stuff is worse.
Yeah,
it's worse, Dean.
It is, but I enjoy it.
It actually makes things even more difficult to deal with. Like, I would rather have an open fight. I'd rather have an open fight in a public square than get a passive aggressive email from somebody.
Do you think this is passive aggressive? Let's watch this again. That's why it's beautifully done.
It's
I'll never
totally
forget
passive.
how I felt back in December of 2020 when I heard that the first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines had landed in.
Even that, it's like, I'll never forget how happy I was.
He's such a raging.
You know what these crazy people are thinking? They're going, you'll never forget when you shipped experimental vaccines to this country to give Sean myocarditis. You'll never forget that.
Canada. We were able to procure enough shots for Canadians to get vaccinated, but at the same time, we really should be developing and manufacturing our own supply.
Now what he's saying is like,
now the passive aggressive part is,
not only did it work so well,
the only mistake we made was we didn't produce this ourselves. That's the only mistake we made, everybody.
Now, you probably know that insulin was invented here in Canada.
Then he borrows from the past. Super smart thing to do. Insulin was invented here in Canada on this very site. And so my friends own a giant manufacturing company called Sonofi. I've given them billions of dollars to start producing vaccines here because they believe in science.
And beyond.
Somebody in his family is a board member.
Sonofi is creating the largest biomanufacturing facility in Canada.
There you go, buddy.
Right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
You got it right here in Canada. You crazy.
The more I watch it, the more I'm convinced he did this on purpose.
I hope he did.
Again, so I'm a little torn. I'm very conflicted about this whole thing now because I want to give him props for trolling, but it also is wildly annoying.
Yeah, I bet it is. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Just so you know, vaccines work. Go get vaccinated. And if you don't want to, just don't tell us that it's poison and we're all going to die. I don't give a fuck. Stay home. Eat apples. Eat dirt. I don't give a shit. Swallow horse paste.
Hey, hold on. And a little sesame seed oil just behind the knees.
Yeah, that little nape.
You'll never need to be vaccinated.
No,
but you got to do it daily.
Sauce on the temple. A little Tabasco sauce here too. Eh?
Do it after your shower, everybody.
Smelling like a burrito joint. There you go. Sesame oil, Tabasco. COVID won't touch you. You're gonna be great. Thanks for joining us.
Do me a favor, sign up for the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Ardent Roof Systems Charity Golf Tournament.
Coming up July 5th. People can still get a foursome, ardentroofsystems.com. Check our Twitter feeds for it, by the way. Locke's got a couple links where you can go and sign up. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. All in support of Stollery Children's Hospital in Edmonton. I will be there with Lachlan Cross, July 5th, Ranch Golf and Country Club. It's Ardent Roof Systems, the best Owens Corning partner in Western Canada.
We've had lots of wind shit happening here too lately. So if you've got any damage to your roof, my buddy Army Chris actually has Ardent coming out to take a look at something because we've had some wicked storms. I'm in BC right now, so I missed it. But just outside of Canmore, a tornado or a twister or something. I don't know what the official term was for it, but it touched down. And Alberta had some wicked weather yesterday. You might have missed it.
Oh, I didn't miss it. I'm staying not far from COP, And watching those black, gray, green clouds roll over the mountains.
It's awesome, isn't it?
One of the most beautiful things I've fucking ever seen.
Storms in the prairies are, but they'll mess up a roof and a car real quick. So if you've had any damage done to your home in the Edmonton area and surrounding area, give Arden a call. Stacy's the first and last call you'll need to make because he's also not going to show up and make you buy something or have you think you need to buy something you don't need. He'll fix the issue. And he'll get it done. He'll get the job done properly. All right. ArdenRoofSystems.com is the webpage for information.
Thank you.
I will be able to record tomorrow because the funeral is in the afternoon. I'll be able to.
We'll go in the morning. I've got Emily on standby from Use on the Mic. The podcast is her 15th anniversary. She's going to jump on with us because Elon Musk, this was big news, dude. Elon Musk opened up Twitter to porn yesterday. Did you see that? He's regulating porn on me.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, come one, come all. You got some porno? Let's do some porno.
I always see things I didn't think I signed up for on Twitter.
Oh, there's been porn on Twitter the entire time, like some of the most egregious shit on the planet. And it's just a matter of them being able to have enough people to shut it all down, and they can't. They basically lost to pornography, much like the internet did in the 80s and 90s. So they're like, fuck it. It's a porn site now. So it was a huge announcement yesterday. We're going to get to that with Em, and it's her 15th anniversary. So we'll do that tomorrow.
All right, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You're a good boyfriend, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. All right. Say hi to your lovely girlfriend for me. I hope she feels better. All right.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Lachlan Cross. At Lachlan Cross on Twitter, you can find him. He is the host of The Locker Room. Sorry about my microphone today, everybody. It'll be back hopefully tomorrow. We'll be able to get this fixed. Appreciate everybody spending some time with us. Brought to you by our friends at Cheese Boutique, by the way. Cheese Boutique, Ripley Avenue. What I need you to do is go to cheeseboutique.com today and make sure you get yourself a Cheese Boutique platter, Father's Day platter. Say it's from me. Go there today. Have a great day, everybody. We're going to see you tomorrow. Bright and early, around 11 o'clock. You can probably get this around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to all of our partners for making this possible, including Cheese Boutique. Bye now.